The views expressed by the host of this podcast are not opinion-based or for entertainment purposes. They are actually facts and truth, no matter if other people like it or not. It is the Detroit sports truth, and nothing can ever stop it from being correct.
Hey there, Detroit sports fanatics. I'm Taylor Phillips, and welcome to episode 195 of the Detroit Sports Truth on Spreaker. Please share this podcast on all social media networks, and thanks very much. I'm with my co-host on the podcast, Ed Smith. Thanks so much for being on here as always. How are you?
Doing fine. I'm actually surprised that, considering the amount of food I ate and the amount of beer I drank from the other night watching the big game. I'm kind of surprised I don't have a bit of a hangover right now, but hey, I'm well and fine. By the way, on a more serious note, before we begin tonight's show, I want to give a special shout out to a longtime professional wrestler. He is known in the WWE as Daniel Bryan, but his real name, of course, and the name that he was known on the independent circuit for multiple years, was Bryan Danielson. He officially announced his retirement tonight live on WWE's Monday Night Raw about an hour and a half or so ago. It was a very emotional segment. You brought up the amount of trials and tribulations he went through his career, the numerous amazing people he's met, including his wife, his mentor. You even mentioned his recently deceased father, who passed away about 2 years ago after he got married. So again, all in all, a very emotional night. And in fact, it was also in his hometown of Seattle, Washington, or near his hometown in Seattle. It made everything come full circle. And best of wishes to Daniel Bryan for what he decides to do from here on out. Sure, he's a great talent that will be missed, but for the sake of his health, his family, and his life, I think this is the best decision that he had to make.
Yeah, we want to pass our condolences to him and his family. With that being said, let's start with Super Bowl 50. The Denver Broncos came out victorious 24-10 in San Francisco over the almost undefeated Carolina Panthers. It was a defensive game the whole way through, but Carolina turned the ball over 4 times, and Denver took advantage on a couple of them, one of them being a fumble in the end zone, and then another fumble in the end by Cam Newton, recovered by the Broncos, and they took advantage on offense with a touchdown to seal it, go up by 2 touchdowns. And Cam Newton was frustrated that he didn't want to talk much in the post game, but clearly he didn't handle it like a man. But I don't blame him for being too frustrated, but that's just his post game press conference behavior was a little bit. I don't know how to rephrase this. I don't know how to.
Disappointing would be one word to use. If you want to use, I guess, an extreme variant, you would use the term childish. Some might say that. I'll get to that. I'll share my thoughts on that in a brief moment. But first and foremost, I got to give props and congratulations to the Super Bowl champion Broncos. I mean, I'm going to own up, okay? Because last week on this program, I picked Carolina to win. I thought they were a younger, more explosive team. I thought they were going to be able to make big plays here and there. Now, granted, I did predict them to score 28 points, but that was more so not so much an indictment against Denver Stevens, because I thought, hey, Peyton's going to obviously make a mistake or two, and Carolina's going to capitalize on it. But Peyton did make a couple mistakes. He had a fumble and an interception, but Carolina wasn't able to do anything. Conversely, Denver made Carolina pay for their turnovers twice, and both of those were caused directly by the eventual Super Bowl MVP Von Miller. He forced 2 fumbles, both of which immediately led to touchdowns. And those 2 touchdowns, obviously, there's a point differentials in how it turned about. That was the difference in the game in terms of a point scale, point perspective. But it was all around A phenomenal performance by the Denver Broncos defense. They proved why they were the best all-around defense in the league this year for a reason. DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller were the two catalysts, but other guys, Aqib Talib, even though he had penalties, he stepped up. The pass rush by Denver, they beat Newton up all night. Not just sacking him, but getting him just hits after he threw the ball. Definitely when he tried to run, he was battered. He was battered and broken, definitely physically and possibly mentally and emotionally well, which probably reasoned into his post-game press conference, quote-unquote, so to speak. But again, I'll get to that in a little bit more, but I got to say, I got to give my props first and foremost to Denver. They played an excellent game defensively, and even though they made mistakes offensively, which I would say was in turn due to how great or how very good Carolina's defense itself was performing, because even though Carolina's offense kept goofing up, their defense did everything they possibly could because as close a game as possible. At the end, it just, it was an example of bend but don't break, but in the end they finally broke. So give big congrats to Denver. Obviously big congratulations to Peyton Manning. I'll elaborate more on his future later on in the show. But good for him to get that second Super Bowl, firmly established his place among the all-time greats in this league and in this sport. Great showing by Von Miller, who I believe will be an unrestricted free agent this upcoming offseason, because after this game, his rookie contract officially runs out. So, seeing how he performed in this game, knowing what type of talent he was to get picked second overall, seeing how he performed in this game, to garner Super Bowl MVP honors, you better believe, especially knowing that he's an unrestricted free agent, he's going to get a big contract offer from somebody this year. And I will be more than willing to throw my hat into the ring as a representative for the Detroit Lions to say, hey, you know what? Here's a couple things the Lions need. They need to upgrade their defense. They need a pass rusher to officially replace Dominican Sue, or at least replace the presence that was there, that in the Dominican Sue is no longer there, because Haloti Ngata has not cut it at all. You got Ziggy Ansah, you got Devin Taylor, but those are only edge rushers. You need a guy that's going to come up the middle and be an absolute disruption, not just in terms of getting to the quarterback, but also stopping the run as well. Von Miller will take care of that in spades. And also, not only that, he's a guy who can, if you saw in a couple plays, can go down the field, down the sidelines, and provide some very good coverage amongst the receiver, on a pass player. So, making it very difficult for the receiver to make a catch, as you saw in the game. And it also, in a way, upgrades your linebacker spot, too, because eventually you're going to have to move on from Stephen Tulloch. DeAndre Levy still has a good amount of years left, but you need somebody to pair him up with. And what better player to do so than with Von Miller? So you basically take care of multiple amounts of needs by swooping up this one player. Now, I know some people might be asking, well, how the hell are you going to get the money? Well, think about it. It hasn't been officially announced yet, but we're all pretty sure Calvin Johnson is retired, correct? So, yeah, if my calculations are correct based on the tweet I read, that's going to open up a good amount of cap space for the Lions, probably at least $10, maybe $11 million. Think about that. That could go a long way in deciding, what type of offer they might potentially use to try and lure Von Miller into here, because there's other points are going to be, hey, our offense is fine. We have a very good to above average quarterback that we still think has loads of potential. Yeah, we don't got Calvin Johnson more, but we still got guys like Golden Tate, Amir Abdullah. We're trying to develop Eric Ebron into another weapon. We need you to upgrade our defense. We saw what you did for Denver's defense. We think you can do that in spades and more so, and then some for our defense. And we got some cap space where we can give you as much money as we can give you. So I'm not saying regular season offense and swag and bravado as they had, and for them to literally play their worst game of the year at the worst possible time, it was definitely devastating from a mental standpoint, and especially from an emotional standpoint. So I could kind of see what Newton's response was. I will say this, even though, it's been known before, but it's definitely showcased. Cam Newton loves to win, and Cam Newton hates to lose. And I'll be honest, I would rather have a guy like that just hates losing than a guy like, say, for instance, Prince Fielder, who really doesn't care if he wins or loses. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take the paraphrase what Jeff Moss says. I'll take 10 Cam Newtons over one Prince Fielder all day, every day. But I will admit, the way he just abruptly left, you could still be disappointed, showcase your emotion. But I think in a way, you could just, I don't know, trying to find a way to make this moment your own, turn it on its ear, and try to use it as motivation, not just for yourself, but for teammates around you. And obviously, the way he reacted gave ammo to those that already criticized him, and give them a point to prove. Newton, he's still young. He still has ways to learn. I think this was definitely this was a humbling experience, but also a learning experience. And I see a guy with his talent and his potential. He has so many years left in his career. He'll be back at this stage one day. He'll probably even win one. So the future is still bright for Cam Newton. As much.
Speculations are swirling around that he will retire. He wants to go out as a champion, go out into the sunset as a champion. Peyton Manning is getting quite old, but
I mean, he'll be 40 soon. You know what I mean? And you very rarely do you see 40-year-old quarterbacks, especially in this day and age when the method is to get younger and quicker, especially with more dual threat quarterbacks than your prototypical pro-style quarterbacks like Peyton is. So, and especially if they're seeing, it would be a nice way to follow, so especially since he's playing for the team that had its own all-time great quarterback go out on his own terms as a winner. So, knowing what Peyton has been through, because remember, he came back from a very, very, very serious neck injury that could have ended his career way earlier than expected, still put on a dazzling display, still showcased the talent that was still there, but this season was a great example of Father Time always wins. Peyton's body is starting to get to a point where it just can't handle this type of physical pounding, this type of physical abuse in a way. So no matter how many off seasons that you want to take off, to get rest, but it's still going to be there for you no matter what, in some shape or form. So, and he's not getting younger. So I would not be surprised if this was the last time that we saw Peyton Manning step onto an NFL field as a player. But I would give my official prediction as to what he'll do next a little bit later on in the show. So stay tuned for that, folks.
Yeah, that'll be on 5 questions at the end of this episode. So, Von Miller, the MVP, 2 forced fumbles that led to touchdowns. I'm going to have a couple of follow-up questions to go with that in one of the 5 questions to go with that as well. I think we've covered pretty much everything football. Even touched on the Lions a bit and talked about them and wanting Von Miller to come to Detroit. I think that's an excellent idea to replace Ndamukong Suh and Nick Fairley. After the last few months of hashtagging streaking for Kimdichie, I think we have found another idea.
We got to make it Miller time.
Yep. There you go. Hashtag Von Miller time. So, with all that being covered, it's time to hit the ice. The Red Wings beat the New York Islanders 5-1 to start the 5-game homestand on a matinee game at Joe Louis Arena. Peter Mrazek was solid, and then he was solid again against the Florida Panthers, and the Red Wings shut them out 3-0. And that was the first time since I remember they beat them at Joe Louis Arena since 2007, late 2007. That's the last time I remember the Red Wings beat the Florida Panthers at Joe Louis Arena, late 2007. I don't remember the exact date. I could be wrong, I could be right, but it's been a long time since the Red Wings beat those guys in that building.
Yeah, I mean, say what the date, the exact date down to the moment, it's kind of, inconsequential. The fact that they haven't, it's been such a long time, almost 10 years, to see the Detroit Red Wings struggle to get a victory on home ice against the Florida Panthers, of all teams. Very unique thing to see, and another crazy thing about sports that you just can't predict sometimes.
I know, it's just kind of... It was just kind of strange, though, that the Red Wings just kept losing to the Panthers at home. It kind of reminded me of their winless home streak against the Chicago Blackhawks from April 2nd of 1999 to January 13th, 2003. Those were two dates that the Red Wings beat the Chicago Blackhawks at Joe Louis Arena in the past, and those two droughts were almost equivalently aggravating. But they're both done and out of the way. Thank God.
Thankfully, yes, exactly. My thoughts exactly.
I love it.
And that's gotta be a good feeling for sure.
Definitely, not only that from a mental aspect, but also in terms of when we're checking out the current Atlantic Division standings as of now. That was a big win, a big 2 points you needed to get, because not only gets you a little bit closer to the division-leading Panthers, and now pulls you into a tie, points-wise, for second place now. The Detroit Red Wings, Boston Bruins, and Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously all have different records, give or take, a few wins, losses, and overtime losses, but they all have a tie at second place in the Atlantic Division with 62 points. So, with this recent 2-game winning streak that the Red Wings have accomplished, it puts them back into a spot now where they can get out of that potential wild card bubble and have them firmly set into a more comfortable spot regarding potential playoff rankings and matchups. It was just an all-around good effort to see. Once again, Dylan Larkin showcasing great ability to produce and contribute. He had 2 points the other night against the Islanders. Pavel Datsyuk, how about that? Showing a return to form, having 2 goals of his own tonight. As well as other young guys, Tomas Tatar, he chipped in with a goal as well. And I think, the easiest thing to say and witness here, Peter Mrazek, once again, showcasing why he needs to be starting the majority of games as much as possible for the rest of this season to get the Red Wings even a smidgen chance, not just getting into the playoffs, but having a good enough ranking where they could probably, be the host team for once in the series. Only gave up a goal against the Islanders, pitched a shutout tonight against the division-leading team that has one of the best records in the league, or at least definitely in the conference. So, again, showcasing you why this guy needs to be your starting goaltender, and you got to start easing out of the Jimmy Howard era, period.
The Red Wings, Lightning, and Bruins all tied up at 62 points apiece. Panthers still in first place in the Atlantic Division, 68 points. Capitals lead the conference, 80 points, Metropolitan Division. Peter Mrazek could have shut out the Islanders had Brendan Smith not committed that stupid tripping penalty early in the third after Dylan Larkin's early third period goal. But he was solid nonetheless. I mean, what can I say? Mrazek is a total steel brick wall, so to speak.
He's our definite X factor in terms of, that extra boost that we need in terms of every now and then Gavin come up with a big win against a hell of a great team, and he's definitely somebody that you're going to need in the playoffs, because one of the things I've always noticed, if teams that go deep and go far to playoffs have at least one of these things, whether it be prolific scoring, solid defense, and this is especially crucial, great goaltending. Peter Mrazek is definitely giving you that great goaltending. We'll just see how much it can last for Detroit.
Jed Schilling just commented, I have to imagine Denver is keeping Miller. Von Miller, that is.
Well, it depends, because they got a number of people that are going to be free agents as well, so they can't keep all of them. Definitely, if I was John Elway, keeping Von Miller would be my top priority. But again, you just never know. Some mystery team could come right out of nowhere, offer him the right amount of money, the right amount of years, and the right setting where he could whisk you away from the Broncos. Now, I am no way or shape or form saying that Detroit, of all things, of all people, all teams, and all cities, would be that good enough setting for Von Miller. But hey, he could surprise us, especially if he sees the right amount of zeros they will be getting on that contract.
That's getting straight to the point right there.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
So, back to the Red Wings. They play the Senators, Ottawa, Wednesday at 7, a rare 7 o'clock time on a weekday night during the regular season. And then Friday, they welcome in the Colorado Avalanche at 7:30. And then on Sunday, they wrap up their 5-game homestand with a 3:30 game on NBC against the Bruins.
Valentine's Day matinee.
Yep, a late matinee game, that is. Still afternoon, not quite night, still afternoon. Looking at where the Avalanche and Senators are, Senators are 6th place in the wild card, 56 points, a tie for 5th place with the Montreal Canadiens. Senators 25, 23, and 6. Looking over to the Western Conference, the Colorado Avalanche are in 2nd place in the wild card division in the Western Conference, 27, 24, and 4, 58 points, a -3 differential. They're coming off a 4-2 loss to the Winnipeg Jets in Winnipeg. Their next game is back home at Pepsi Center against the Vancouver Canucks at 9:00 p.m. Eastern on Tuesday night. That's actually tonight. So later tonight. So with the Colorado Avalanche are improving a bit from last year. They're trying to get to the playoffs for the first time in like 2 or 3 years. The Ottawa Senators are struggling. I think the Wings can beat them, but they're going to have a good matchup against the Avalanche. And then the Bruins, of course, another good matchup, very important matchup, especially in the Atlantic Division.
Yeah, exactly. Divisional opponent that you're currently at this moment tied for 2nd place in terms from a points perspective. So yeah, very crucial game that you're gonna have to try to do the absolute best to win to get those 2 points for sure.
Here's the Red Wings differential right now: 0. The Bruins +17. The Senators -13. The Panthers 29. +29. The Capitals +54. Wow.
great offense and great defense. Can never go wrong with those two factors.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, goals for and goals against. That's right. Yep.
As well as great goaltending.
Yep. So with that out of the way, the Pistons are next.
Left sideline, three, and he answers.
Damn it!
They have lost at least two in a row. They lost to the Pacers 112-104 inside Bankers Life Fieldhouse. Again, they're lacking defense as usual, as goes for the 103-89 loss at the Palace last night against the Toronto Raptors. The Pacers, I get it. It's a rivalry. Don't just spare me with that. Everybody, please. The Pistons were supposed to beat the Pacers, but again, Pistons still lack defense as usual.
Yeah, and give credit to Paul George. You know, the guy's a former All-Star for a reason. He showed up and showed out. 28 big points in a crucial game against a divisional opponent, and he made some very key shots that proved to be the difference.
Speaking of Paul George, he's one of the All-Stars going into the NBA All-Star game this upcoming Sunday on Valentine's Day. Just about the same day, except Sundays. We never get mail on Sundays, but the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue's about to come in the mail like sometime soon, either before Valentine's Day or after Valentine's Day. But sticking with the point here, basketball. Paul George, one of the All-Stars, as I just mentioned. All-Star game coming up. Andre Drummond is a reserve. I think he's the only Piston going to the All-Star game. Reggie Jackson, some say, got snubbed. I'm not sure about that, but I guess I could agree. Reggie Jackson.
I think Stanley Johnson might have gotten snubbed from the Rising Stars game, I believe.
Yeah, that's like how the hell could that happen?
I don't know. He's had himself a very good year, showcasing good defense. He's stepping up now, especially offensively, in the wake of Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's injury. I think that's a guy you should definitely reward by giving him a spot to showcase his up-and-coming talent, skills, and potential.
Yeah, we gotta let Adam Silver hear that. But Pistons again lacking defense. 112 given up in Indiana, 103 against Toronto. Pistons may want to consider may want to start thinking over that Brandon Jennings Thaddeus Young trade. Call me crazy, but Thaddeus Young, as we went over last episode, is a great defensive player and can take it to the rack.
Thaddeus Young would help from a defensive standpoint, but that would only be for inside. The Pistons, they need some help defending outside shooting, particularly the three-point shot. For the past two games now, we've seen teams shoot over 50% from three-point range against Detroit. 54.5 for Indiana on 6 and 11 shooting, 55 even on 11 of 20 shooting from Toronto. So if anything that needs a huge upgrade with Detroit's defensive help, it's their three-point shooting. They got to find a way to force teams off that line and just take more twos, because they're getting killed from three. Just demolished.
Yep. I'm thinking like a Tayshaun Prince type player. I mean it's not the real Tayshaun Prince, of course, but a Tayshaun Prince type player, a player that can defend outside shooting. player who can chip in on that, a player that can be a total machine, not only defend outside shooting, he can defend inside as well. He can also nail threes and take it to the rack as well. He can even win jump ball tip-offs.
Well, to have all that, first and foremost, you're going to have an incredible wingspan, which is what Tayshaun did and it had in his heyday. So you got to find a guy that has that type of wingspan. Not to mention a good, you would say, a good eye for the ball in terms of not getting fooled easily by screens or whatnot, or crossovers, that type of thing. So those are many factors, but a big key would definitely be good wingspan and good lockdown D. Not giving them open looks, close the space, close the distance, not giving them any type of breathing room, so to speak, making them uncomfortable from either distance, which would help possibly cut down on the easy three-point shooting that teams have been getting.
I'd have to agree.
So, but it's whatever it is, they got to get their crap together because they had a big win last Thursday on a primetime showcase on TNT against the Knicks. Then they followed up with two stinkers in a row, and now puts them back at that 8th spot. They're now only a game over 500 overall record-wise, and now they're back at the 8th spot in the East. They're only a half game up on the Charlotte Hornets, so they're walking that dangerous line of falling back out of possible playoff contention. They've got to get their crap together. Obviously now when the second half starts, they got one more chance before the All-Star break with this game against the Nuggets tomorrow. So, from a morale standpoint, it would be better to head into the break with a win and still, like I said, no matter what, still in that top 8, because now the real work begins after you have this All-Star week and this break and whatnot. Because now the reality is setting in. You only got a couple more months left. Get your work done, show up your mistakes, and do what you got to do. Because once April hits and it's playoff time, if you're on the outside looking in, that's too bad for you.
That's right. Pistons standing at 27-26. Bulls 26-26. No, the Bulls are 27-24. The Charlotte Hornets 26-26. It's neck and neck down the stretch. Pistons, of course, need to start playing defense and put games away. They play the Denver Nuggets Wednesday at 7:30 on Fox Sports Detroit. That's the same night the Wings play the Senators. I think the Wings play on Fox Sports Detroit Plus. It's at 7. Both games are both the Wings and Pistons play on February 10th. Yeah, the Pistons play on Fox Sports Detroit Plus. Pardon me. Then the Pistons play the Washington Wizards at 7 in Verizon Center. That's on Fox Sports Detroit. The Wings and Pistons are both listed to be televised on Fox Sports Detroit, not Fox Sports Detroit Plus. That one of those schedules might change here. I'm not sure which will be on Fox Sports Detroit and which will be on Fox Sports Detroit Plus. That's like so late. Because evidently, it's a mistake that they can't leave behind. But anyway, continuing on, the Pistons play the Atlanta Hawks Sunday at 3:30 at the Palace on Fox Sports Detroit, while the Wings play the Bruins at 3:30 on NBC at the Joe. So both the Wings and Pistons, 3:30 at home. Looking at the Denver Nuggets, 11th place, 21-32. Pistons have to beat them. They got to look for some revenge. Play way tougher defense, especially from outside, from three-point range.
Gallinari is going to be a big key, as well as Moutier as well. So Moutier, Gallinari, and Gary Harris. Those are three guys you got to watch out for because they can take over not just from three, but also getting off high-quality two-point shots as well. Those are three guys from an offensive standpoint you must contain at all costs.
Denver's 11th place in the Western Conference. The Washington Wizards are in 11th place in the Eastern Conference, 22-27. John Wall is one of the players to watch, though.
Oh yeah, talented young guard, all-star. If you give him the right enough amount of players, he can be a real force and take over in games late in the clutch. So he's a definite guy to watch out for. Reggie Jackson will have his hands full for sure.
And then the Atlanta Hawks, very, very important matchup. 30-24 in 5th place. Paul Millsap, Millsap. Al Horford. I think Kyle Korver's on the team as well, but
well, it comes down to this: Korver's 3-point shooting, Horford's presence in the paint, and I believe.
Yeah. The Hawks love to hit threes. That's the perfect game for the Pistons to focus on defending the 3-point line.
Yeah, especially when you got a guy like Kyle Korver who can nail threes all day. So, keep him contained and isolated. You have a better shot of winning that game as well. Once again, another point guard matchup to look out. Jeff Teague, once again, against both Reggie Jackson and, of course, Brandon Jennings when he comes off the bench.
So that covers it for the Pistons. Now we shift to college basketball.
Valentine for the win! For three, yes, sir!
Yeah, I'm playing both drops. Will Tiemann and Matt Shepard right there. Michigan State Spartans outlast the Michigan Wolverines 89-73 at Chrysler Center. The Spartans were raining threes in the first half, and they just would not let up on the Michigan Wolverines. You privately messaged me on Facebook that the Michigan Wolverines team has no heart, no toughness. I mean,
yeah, I was very livid to a certain extent for what I was saying. And it's beyond the whole, you're missing Caris LeVert. There's, no excuse. You have other guys that can step up. Zach Irvin, Derek Walton, Duncan Robinson, Muhammad Ali Abdul-Rahman. You have other guys that can step up and provide contribution in offensive production in LeVert's absence, okay?
Ricky Doyle's another.
Doyle, that's another guy. Danao, another guy. What the hell, man? I mean, I know State is a very good team, a great team. Okay, they showcased that definitely for sure.
They got Denzel Valentine, Gavin Schilling, Aaron Harris, Bryn Forbes.
Bryn friggin' Forbes. He had his own breakout game in this contest on Saturday. I mean, just three after three after three. That was two great things MSU had. That basically they had the game wrapped up at halftime.
Matt Costello.
Great three-point shooting, which was supposed to be Michigan's specialty, right? They outclassed them in that regard. And also sharing the ball. They vastly outnumbered Michigan in the assist departments. Terrific ball movement. Picked apart Michigan's defense, even when they tried the 1-3-1 zone. Still able to find open guys who in turn would hit another open three like Forbes would do again and again and again. And on the other end, great defense. almost each possession, it was like a struggle for Michigan to try to even create a shot, let alone make one to fall in. So that's good defense, a great defense on MSU's part, but just terrible offensive execution from Michigan's standpoint. Again, just dribbling the ball, not sharing the ball as much often, not showcasing good ball movement, which in turn turns into a case of like playground basketball, basically, where the clock's running out. You got to get the ball to one guy to just hoist up a shot and hope something goes in. That's what it felt like almost each and every time that they had the ball. It was sickening to watch. And when that breakaway dunk happened midway through the second half, I turned the game off. I'm like, I refuse to get, this irritated, this upset over this. So I turned the game off and went about my merry way, and I felt so much better afterwards. So yeah, this team has a lot of holes they need to fix up. Part of that is on the talent, but part of that also, I gotta say, it's gotta be on the coaching as well. John Beilein has got to do a much better job of putting his players in better spots, hide their weaknesses. It's a term Paul Heyman used to say. Hide the weaknesses and accentuate the strengths. I'm paraphrasing, but that's something similar to what he would say. You got to find a way to showcase your strengths, which is your three-point shooting, and your athletic ability for some of your guards and the other players. By the way, they again, a guy like Irvin, it seemed like only one person was taking it to the rim almost, and that was Zach Irvin. Other guys were just too scared, or just flat out refused for what reason I don't know. So you got to mix things up. You can't just go be thinking, oh, jump shot, three, jump shot, three, jump shot. No, you got to mix it up. Show versatility and diversity in your game by doing some post-ups underneath. Do a little pick and roll and feed it to a guy at the rim. Let the other team know what you're all about offensively. You're not just some, hop, skip, and a jump 3-point shooting team. You're also a team that can, give it to you rough, down to the paint from time to time. They didn't showcase any of that, and they got killed for it on the other end by Michigan State. So it shows definitely which team is where it's at this point. This was in terms of worst case scenario, this is the very worst thing that could happen to Michigan. They were top four, in the top four of the Big Ten standings, and with two stinkers in a row against Indiana and Michigan State, they have fallen out of that top four. In terms of a standing standpoint, they are still tied with a fourth spot, but in terms of head-to-head and tiebreakers, they're essentially in sixth place because they're behind Purdue and Michigan State, of course, because they beat them in the head-to-head so far. So, again, this is a team that, if they have a good enough record, they'll make the tournament. I don't see them having a deep run, obviously, especially with no Karis LeVert. So it's John Beilein better hope he can get some good recruits in for next year, because if things keep happening like this, you're going to see some fans turn on Beilein in hordes of numbers and probably ask him to get fired, which is very disappointing. I'm serious, man, because you're seeing some minor rumblings of it right now. If this crap continues next year, you're going to see more people get louder about it. I'm not one of those people, because I still think, without John Beilein, we wouldn't be at this point right now where we would be so adamantly angry and upset at how this team is performing. Because we've seen on their best days what this team is capable of, despite what talent they have. John Beilein is a good enough coach where they can put him in that position, but right now he's not having a good stretch. Okay, so you hope things get cleared up. If not this year, then definitely next year, because I do think Beilein is a very, very nice fit in Michigan. I don't want to see him get rushed out of the way in a ceremonious manner.
So Michigan will have to go on the road Wednesday to Minneapolis and play the Minnesota Golden Gophers. The game starts at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central on BTN. So Michigan has now lost 2 in a row in convincing fashion at home against number 22 Indiana and then number 10 Michigan State. Minnesota's unranked, but Michigan's on the road at them right their next game.
This should be a very, very, very winnable game. For God's sake, they're winless in the conference so far. They're tied with Rutgers at the bottom of the barrel for teams within the Big Ten standings in basketball this year so far. So if you don't win this game, may God have mercy on you. That's all I got to say. Because after that, that's your one gimme. Because after that, you have basically murderers row. You got 3 straight games against tough caliber opponents, home against Purdue, and then 2 big games on the road back-to-back. At Ohio State and at Maryland. Good luck on that one.
Speaking of Purdue, Michigan State is at Purdue tonight at 7 on ESPN. Big showdown between the Spartans and the Boilermakers. If you want to break that down, that'd be nice.
Well, a good, very good showcase for Michigan to build even more. Michigan State, I should say, to build more momentum in terms of getting up the rankings, especially after they handled their in-state rival in such an impressive way that's got some people thinking, hey, maybe they can make another deep run in the tournament again this year. But again, it's going to take more from just Denzel Valentine. As you can tell, it was a total team effort. Brent Forbes was a great example. Just good showcasing, not just offensively, but defensively as well from all points of the game. Great execution and sharing the ball, which of course led to prime, opportune, high-quality open looks from not only 3, but from a pure jump shot standpoint as well. So if they can find some semblance of that and repeat that, because obviously Purdue's going to be a much, much, much tougher opponent than Michigan, we'll see how it goes, because after that, you got a game against Indiana, which, again, 2 big games here that can propel you towards the top of the standings in the Big Ten Conference right now. So they need to be building that ground as much as possible. So the Michigan was a good spark. This could be built into a great fire of momentum for the Spartans if they can handle their business against the Boilermakers and the Hoosiers.
Yep, that is true. They play the Indiana Hoosiers on Valentine's Day at 1 p.m. at home. And then on next Thursday, the Wisconsin Badgers roll in at 9 p.m. Eastern. That's another big matchup. 3 big matchups coming up, and then make it 4 at Ohio State, February 23rd. That is on a Tuesday. Spartans have that entire next upcoming weekend off after this upcoming Valentine's Day weekend. Before we move on to the next topic, I ran into some statistics tweeted by Anthony Ciotti comparing Peter Mrazek and Carey Price. Mrazek Mrazek this season adjective saves, I think, 94.80 save percentage, DEX save percentage 0.014, minutes 1622.4, DGA goals against 14.6. Carey Price from last season, adjective save percentage 93.89. D expected save percentage 0.020. Minutes 3,777.9, and D goals all 31.8.
Very impressive.
Yep. Now we can go to our final topic of the night, the Tigers.
That one is long gone.
The Tigers and outfielder JD Martinez have avoided arbitration with a 2-year deal. Jennifer Hammond on Twitter at HammerFox2 tweeted that she was told JD Martinez's contract is worth $18.5 million with a $6.75 million paid out in 2016 and $11.75 million in 2017. All of this is pending physical, of course, which he'll pass. Yeah, we knew that was going to come, but a bit late though. But JD Martinez, nonetheless, is staying with the Detroit Tigers. He filed for arbitration a month ago, but now we're getting word a few hours ago that he is staying. So
yeah, Katie Strang mentioned this. Assuming that JD passes physical, he will be the fourth and final Tiger this off season to avoid arbitration with the team, which is very, very nice to see. Obviously, this is a very good deal for multitude of reasons. You get to, keep him under wraps, keep him under your control for at least a couple more years span of time, and also you still have a little money to save on. You don't necessarily break the bank, so to speak. Somebody tells me you might have to do that eventually when this comes up again. But at least it builds you a little bit more time to build a little bit more money. And who knows what happens within the next 2 years. Maybe Victor Martinez will be retired. And then that will open up some cap space so you want to short that up money, pony it all up to give it to JD. So, again, it keeps the guy under your control for a couple more years. And you don't have to spend so much money for now, at least. So, all in all, good deal for everybody.
absolutely. So it'll be Justin Upton in left field, Anthony Ghost or Cameron Maben in center field, and JD Martinez in right field, as we all expected. So, oh yeah, the only main thing remaining is the manager, Brad Ausmus, of course. We've already went through that. Granted, he knows sabermetrics and stuff, but he needs to take better control of the team and make better in-game decisions, especially in high-leverage situations. But the Tigers do have a better bullpen. That's going to help Ausmus a lot more. But again, Brian Ausmus should have to make better decisions in the game.
They seem to have an all-around better constructed team than they had last year, which is good. You know, knowing the type of players that are on this team now and the payroll advantage that they have. So to see them even still reconstruct, so to speak, and in some semblance of a way reload on certain spots, or rebuild, I should say, it puts them in a spot where they're a much better team going onto the field for 2016 than they would coming off the field last year in 2015. We'll see where it goes because, like I said before, the Royals are the team to beat in 4 ways to 1. I can't believe I'm saying this.
They're the world champions.
Saying this in a sentence. Yeah, world champions, division champions, all that good stuff. So it's going to take a lot of effort to overthrow them from the mountain in more ways than 1.
All right. Yeah, that is absolutely true. So now we conclude this podcast episode with 5 questions.
It's time for 5 questions with Taylor the Gator Phillips.
Question number 1: Will Peyton Manning retire after this previous NFL? Question number 1: Will Peyton Manning retire after this previous NFL season as a champion?
Without a doubt, absolutely 100% yes. What better way to go out? Like I said before, he's not getting younger. He's going to be 40 soon. His body is breaking down after all this time of the wear and tear and the physical trauma that his body has gone through in his long NFL career. It comes to a point where you got to say, hey, it's time now. He's done. He's literally done everything that there has to have been done by a player, let alone a quarterback in this league. He has literally more wins than anybody, more touchdowns than anybody, more passing yards than anybody, and now he's got a second Super Bowl ring. So what better way to go out than with the ring? And you've basically, if you weren't before, you've definitely certified your spot as a first ballot Hall of Famer. So yeah, this would be the perfect timing now for Peyton Manning to ride off into the sunset and retire, as he is now.
Yeah, absolutely. Why not retire in a happy occasion when you won a Super Bowl, a major championship?
It's the dream scenario for any veteran or longtime great or any player, period, to go out on. So Peyton has this chance to enact on that. Let's hope he chooses wisely.
Absolutely.
Next question.
Question number 2. How good does it feel for the Red Wings to finally beat the Florida Panthers at the Joe for the first time in a long time?
It's a good mental aspect. I'm sure they really didn't care so much about that streak. It was just more so, hey, it's another game in front of us. It's a division opponent that's leading us. Let's beat them, get these 2 points. So I think from that standpoint, it's huge. Not so much on the streak thing, but definitely on the whole playoff spot parameters, and what it means for them in this season going forward. So a big win for sure. A good showcase for their goaltender, showcasing why he needs to be the starter for the majority of the season going forward. An all-around good win, great night for the team as a whole.
Yeah, of course. That's absolutely 100% true.
Next question.
Question number 3. Are the Pistons falling apart?
I hate to say it, but yes. The defense has been very troubling. Andre Drummond is still, granted, he could break off a 20-20 game any night if he could, but his free throw troubles are going to be an absolute plague to the Pistons until he gets them fixed. Other players are not stepping up at key crucial moments. Brandon Jennings is great one night, then he has a bad night like he did the other night against Indiana. Marcus Morris can have a good night, but like I said, not everybody else is getting in on the pie here, or contributing, I should say, at least. They're helping out. So it's going to be up and down. I see this being for the rest of the season. You just only hope that the Pistons, don't move around too much where it knocks them out of the playoffs or knocks them out of a playoff spot that they more than richly deserve for the way, not only the potential that they have, but the way they've been playing in spurts of this season.
Yeah, I'm afraid I have to agree there.
Next question.
Question number 4. Very tough question. Did the Spartans win or did the Wolverines lose Saturday afternoon?
Wolverines lost. I mean, don't get me wrong. Michigan State, they were expected to win that game, but the Wolverines, my God, they were just flat out terrible. I mean, if they could have made this a much more closer game, a competitive game, a tighter game, tried to take advantage of that, I think we probably could have seen really what both teams are capable of playing against each other at their best. Obviously, injuries hurt and they don't help, but still, you got to showcase a better showing for that, for at least for one aspect, in front of your fans, in front of your home crowd. Well, I'll admit, I must call out, by the way, they did not, that place, looking at some pictures on Twitter, it did not look full at all. It looked almost half full. So very poor showing by the fans. I get it, I understand. This has been a bit of a disappointment, knowing what this team has not been producing against higher caliber teams, but still, for God's sakes, show some better support.
Yeah, I think the Wolverines just need to play a lot better than that.
They're middle of the road. They're middle of the road right now, basically.
Yep.
Next question.
Finally, question number 5. Should the Tigers have signed JD Martinez to that 2-year deal sooner?
I'm going to say no on this. They need to take care of the other essentials first. Fix up your bullpen, get another good caliber starting pitcher. And we saw taking care of a need in the corner outfield spot. So they'd have to take care of all those needs first before getting to the process of this JD Martinez situation. So they took their time. They were patient with it. and they still got a good deal out of it. So in the end, everything worked out just as they would have hoped.
I mean, we still expected JD Martinez to file for arbitration, but to wait for a month after that—that's what I meant. To wait for a month after that, I mean, what took that so long?
I don't know. I think they wanted to figure out, make sure that both they and JD were in the utmost agreement of a respectable figure that'll be fine to both parties, and also, again, not costing too much, but also give JD the amount of money that he's definitely earned from the output that he had last year. So, I could see why this took a little bit of a time, but still, you got it done. The important thing is you got it done before the season started. Hell, you even got it done before spring training started. So that's the important thing to look at here from this perspective. So all in all, good job on that one.
Yep. Thank you very much. And for all the listeners and fans out there, if you want to answer those questions, just replay the episode and answer them in the comment bank below this episode as best you can. That wraps up episode 195 of the Detroit Sports Truth. Ed, thanks so much again for your help. I'll talk to you Thursday at 12:30 a.m. for episode 196.
Thank you so much, Taylor, and hashtag thank you, Daniel Bryan.
Yep, absolutely. And for Ed Smith, I'm Taylor Phillips. If there's anything you guys want more of or less of on our podcast, please let us know. We will talk to you guys Thursday at 12:30 on episode 196 of the Detroit Sports Truth on Spreaker. TTFN. Ta-ta for now.
Bon appétit.